flight is fascinating and involves people from so many different fields and diverse backgrounds.
You're right, from mathematicians to scientists, from engineers to technical specialists. The teams involved with pushing discovery and continually innovating really involve countless individuals.
I wonder, who were some of the people who pushed the envelope when it comes to flight? Let's take a quick look at some of these people and learn what they did.
Great idea. It's important for us to always remember that it's real people who did all the math and the science and the engineering and the flying of the aircraft we see all around us. The Tuskegee Airmen were black servicemen in the United States Armed Forces who trained at Tuskegee Airfield in Alabama during World War II. They made up the first African-American flying unit in the United States military.
Here's a model of Captain Roscoe Brown's P-51 aircraft. Captain Roscoe Brown was one of the first Tuskegee Airmen to down a German fighter. He named his P-51 Mustang Bunny after his daughter.
Did you know that the Tuskegee Airmen became known as the Red Tails because they painted the nose and tail of their aircraft bright red?
Yes, I think I heard that. They had these red tails for identification purposes as they completed the important missions of escorting bombers.
Let's take a look at the plane. I wonder how we can see geometric symmetry in this model airplane. Symmetry is when two or more parts of an object are the same from a flip, slide, or turn. I bet that symmetry was a big part of the design.
Let's look for a specific kind of symmetry, rotational symmetry. This is when you rotate a shape by a certain number of degrees and it looks exactly the same. So for instance, the propeller has rotational symmetry. If we rotate the propeller by 180 degrees, it looks the same. We can also see rotational symmetry in the star.
You know, it is so amazing to look at all these artifacts. The Tuskegee Airmen became one of America's elite fighting units of World War II. During World War II, Black Americans in many U.S. states were still subject to the Jim Crow laws, and the American military was racially segregated, as was the federal government. The Tuskegee Airmen were subject to discrimination both within and outside the Army. Their legacy is important for the movement for African American justice. It is so important to see this exposition here in the museum and to recognize and appreciate these airmen and their contributions.
Here's a picture of one of these airmen, Lieutenant Calvin Spann, and you can see his medals on the uniform.
Although required to train and fight in segregated units, the Tuskegee Airmen proved to be some of the most skilled aviators during the Second World War. The courage and skill of these brave pilots contributed to the desegregation of the United States Armed Forces in 1948.